Professor Hayes, who has given the process macro, also given a macro for, he has given for the omega. You can attach it in SPSS and you can compute omega. Whenever you report alpha, also report the omega. Now, these are the couple of things which we discussed yesterday. Whenever it comes to formative, so in the formative, always Jarvis 2003 will be referred. I shared you a couple of papers. One paper of Jarvis 4 rules, some examples of the reflective formative. One paper from Professor Pooja Khatri. She is in Indraprasth University, Delhi. She wrote a paper on the second order formative, how to report it, how to report the Jarvis rules, etc. Very wonderfully given. Apart from that, we discussed a little bit about the framework, how to make the theory. So basically, two are the methods.
Can
I request you to please be on mute mode? So one is conceptual framework. When no review of literature is available, we generally use ISM or maybe the D metal. That's a starting point. These are MCDM techniques, or there are, we call it as the theoretical framework. And we saw one example of the theoretical framework where the word integrated, holistic, comprehensive, these are mentioned. Holistic, comprehensive, these words are mentioned. Conceptual, we haven't discussed. So theoretical, I shared one paper with you yesterday. It was about the Bitcoin currency, where they have used the 4 theories to make one integrated model. So this is something we discussed on the day 1. Now today, let me start with first. On the day 1, we also discussed the difference between SAM and regression. Now let's start with the SAM, and I will give you a bird's eye view of what exactly is there in the structure equation modeling. So I will share with you all sort of, just like you see the Google map, you say where is Bhopal, then in the Bhopal you narrow down where is NIT, where is our department. So likewise in the SAM, what exactly we will discuss in the SAM. So 2 things we'll discuss. So this is part A. SAM consists of 2 things. One, it consists of measurement model. So measurement model is also known by several names. It is also called as CFA, confirmatory factor analysis. In terms of SmartPLS software, it is called as the outer model. Outer model. Here we are concerned only about the reliability and the validity. And the other sort of the model we will talk will be the structural model. Now structural model, the other name of the structural model is, you can call it as the path analysis. In terms of SmartPLS software, this is called as the inner model. So in the measurement model, we generally deal with 2 sort of things. The 2 sort of things are, we refer to the validity and the reliability. Validity and the reliability, both of reflective, formative, lower order, higher order. So in addition to that, there is something parallelly going here. We will talk in terms of LOC, HOC, lower order construct, higher order construct. We will talk formative or the reflective. So it doesn't matter, whatever you are talking, lower order, higher order, reflective, formative, we will talk about the reliability and the validity. And on the other hand, for structural model, we talked about the relationship, and the relationship is basically, it can be of 2 types. A relationship can be of a direct effect, means A lead to B, that's called as a direct effect, or there may be some sort of intervening variable. Some sort of intervening variables are there. Now, intervening variable can again be categorized under the 2 heads. Intervening variables can be categorized as, one, we call it as the moderator. The second, the mediator. So 2 things are there for these effects. These are called as the mediator and the moderator. Again, 2 types. So moderator, Now, one of the most important thing in the statistics is how you measure a variable. How you measure a variable, is it metric or non-metric? Is it discrete or continuous? If it is discrete, meaning of the discrete, it is a non-metric, categorical. How you measure this moderator? So here two things are there. First, we have to go for an assumption. The name of the assumption is MICOM. And then we have to go for multi-group analysis, MGA, multi-group analysis. Now here only two groups can be categorized. Two groups can be compared, though there are methods in the RStudio, you can compare more than two also. And when there is a continuous variable, a continuous is also called as metric variable, then this moderator effect is known as, it is also called as interaction effect. So it is called as interaction effect. Here we make a chart also, it's called the simple slope analysis. I'm sharing all these things, a bird's eye view of entire SAM, because maybe sometime later you will read any papers, you will find all these things. And when we talk about the mediators, again, two are the things. It's more like that office sort of thing, that there will be two things. So here also there are the two things. The two things are, one, there can be a simple mediation. Simple mediation is one when number of mediator is only one. Or there are the more than one mediation. There is a simple mediation, only one, or when there is a mediator is more than one. When there is more than one mediator, again, two are the concepts. So either a mediator, both do not connect to each other, it is called as the parallel mediation. If one mediator lead to another mediator, it's called serial, or also called as sequential mediator. Serial or sequential mediator. So we have a concept of mediator and a moderator. Both have the two. It's a MICOM is an assumption. MGA, multi-group analysis, is the technique, checking. We'll talk about all of them a little bit. And actually all resource person, they will talk of all these things. When moderator is continuous, the same is called as the interaction effect. A simple mediation, we call it as simple mediation, mediator is one. And when mediator is more than one, the same is called as either parallel or serial mediation. So this is something in the same domain we will discuss. So we start with measurement model. Measurement model, we are concerned about reliability and the validity. Now talking about the validity, let's make the complete chart then. This validity is of one, content validity, and along with the content validity, we also establish the face validity. They go hand in hand. And the second is called as the construct validity. Construct validity. Now this construct validity can be categorized under many. There is something called convergent validity. Maybe you have heard such thing in the papers. Convergent validity, that's part of the construct validity. The second is called as discriminant validity. So this is called as discriminant validity. The third is called as predictive validity. Yesterday we talked about the predictive validity and the model comparison also. So this is predictive validity. And the fourth part, it is called as nomological validity. The fourth one is called as nomological validity. In very few paper you will find nomological validity is given. In 2022, professor here discussed how to work on this. Reliability is again of many types, but two of the types we can discuss here. I hope it won't make any confusion. So the liability portion we can divide into the two parts, and the two parts will be one, internal consistency. Internal consistency. There the Cronbach alpha and McDonald omega comes. And second one is called as test retest. Test retest sort of reliability, which is conducted generally in the experimental study. There is one more split half reliability, inter-rater reliability. I'm skipping that part. These two I'm writing. So basically, this is what we should discuss, and I hope all the resource persons will speak about these things. One, the measurement model. Second, the structural model, the path analysis, etc. These two are the different things. When we talk of the measurement model or the CFA, we talk about reliability and the validity of a construct. And here a construct may be reflective, formative, lower order, higher order. Yesterday, Priyanka was asking one question again and again, whether the TAM model, U-doubt model, it is reflective. And I was answering her again and again that structural model is the relationship between the construct, effect of A on B, effect of X on Y. It has nothing to do with the reflective and the formative. So reflective formative is the concept of the measurement model, and model, U-doubt model, TAM model, etc. These are the part of the structural model. Structural model, understand it's a regression. Measurement model is the reliability validity. So Dr. Atul Shiva will discuss about the mediator, moderator. So if I make a sort of a table here, so this is the part of the moderator analysis. This is the part of the moderator analysis, and this one is the part of the mediation analysis. So moderator and mediator. Then this is part A. Now let's talk of the part B. In the same, then there is a part B. And what is part B? Let's stop here. Part B consists of how reliable, how good are your results? Not reliable, how good are your results? How robust are your results? So number of paper, they check the model robustness. Model robustness. Now this is a altogether a different concept. Model robustness generally talks three things. Number one, it talks about the reciprocity. Oh, sorry, not this one. Reciprocity will be the part of endogeneity. So here we talk of first one is the non-linearity, because one of the assumption of SmartPLS, it works on the linear relationship. So here we have the Ramsey test for checking the non-linearity. Second, we work on the unobserved heterogeneity. Unobserved heterogeneity. Two of the SAM options are there. One is called as the FIMIX, second is called as the POS. Two options are there. Unobserved heterogeneity basically says, how do you know your entire data is homogeneous? You have taken a data of 600, 800. How do you know all are very similar? Might be there are clusters in your data. Might be there are some groups of the data. Some people feel alike. So FIMIX is very similar to a marketing technique called cluster analysis. It's very, very similar to what we call as cluster analysis. The only thing is cluster analysis is applied to a data where there is no dependent or independent variable. But here, when you have a model, dependent, independent variable, assume the same cluster analysis will be applied by FIMIX, finite mixture segmentation or predicted orientation segmentation, FIMIX or POS. And a third thing here will be the checking the endogeneity. Now, endogeneity, people in the domain of finance were working since long, but very recently, now it's emphasized in the survey method, you should work on the endogeneity. Three are the reasons of the endogeneity. The first one is the Reciprocity. The meaning of the reciprocity is we always say X lead to Y. Have you ever checked that Y lead to X? Have you ever thought of this way that might be Y lead to X? Because the entire literature says X lead to Y. Everybody takes that data and prove it again and again. But other versions are also there and reciprocity might also be there. So there is one technique which actually gives you idea about reciprocity, that is called as the D metal. D metal stands for decision making, trial, evaluation, laboratory. This is one part of the MCDM. D metal, decision making, trial, evaluation, laboratory, D metal. And this is the part of MCDM. MCDM stands for multi-criteria decision making. MCDM is a full form is multi-criteria decision making. So out of all the techniques, only D metal is the technique which actually talks about reciprocity. D metal says it's not only that IDV has an effect on DV, actually DV can also influence the IDV. So reciprocity should be checked. There are methods to check the same. The second part of endogeneity is the common method biasness. Partly we discussed yesterday, common method biasness. Two remedies are there, statistical remedy and the research design related remedy. And third is the left out variable. So left out variable means control variable. So this is the concept of the control variable. Since we are not working on the all independent variable, you must take a concept of what is called as the control variable. So this is the part, this is called as the model robustness. This is the part 2. I don't think this is the part of a workshop here, but it's not like the workshop is important. You should study these things. Whenever you get the time, please try to study these things. Let's come to the third part in the SAM. Generally, people use pre and post scenario of the SAM. There is a pre scenario, there is a post scenario. So what is the pre and post scenario? Let's talk about that. Actually, these days, nobody is writing a paper only on SAM, and paper are not even accepted on SAM. So people work on the pre and the post scenario. So let's talk first about the post scenario. Post scenario means after doing the SAM analysis, what we can do. So this is the post SAM. The various techniques we can apply after SAM is SAM plus ANN. It is called as artificial neural network. A technique from machine learning, artificial neural network, ANN. It's available in SPSS, not some specialized software is required. The second thing is called SAM plus IPMA, IPMA. It's called importance performance map analysis. A very wonderful tool to give you managerial implication, importance performance map analysis. So IPMA is not the part of SAM. It can be used on the construct scores, etc. A third technique was NCA. NCA stands for necessary condition analysis. Necessary condition analysis. And very recently in the 2024, the both are merged and they are made as combined IPMA. IPMA plus NCA. Now its name is given as C-IPMA. C-IPMA is nothing but combined IPMA. And this combined IPMA is incorporating combined NCA plus IPMA. It becomes a C-IPMA. The other technique people use is SAM plus FSQCA. FSQCA stands for fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis. Qualitative comparative analysis, there is a separate software and it provides the multiplicative effects which are not given by the SAM. And lastly, SAM plus sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. So this is the complete domain of SAM. This is the complete domain of SAM. Generally, when scholars study about the SAM, they study about all these things. So let me put it up to here. Oh, is it okay? No. Right. So just check it once again from the top. This is the, just I am showing you the bird's eye view. Yeah, one thing I missed, sorry, my mistake. I mistake the pre-scenario. This is the post-SAM scenario. And what is the pre-SAM scenario? Pre-SAM means generally in the SAM, data is taken, variables are taken, then review of literature, and you make the hypothesis. Instead of the hypothesis, people use mixed method research. In the mixed method research, mixed method is a combination of the two. It's a qualitative plus quantitative. Qualitative plus quantitative. Now here there are a couple of things you should know. If someone say that I have two objectives, one is to find out the opinion of the people, I will do it by interview method. And second, there is a model. I will check effect of X on Y and Z. I will use SAM for that. Now, these are the two separate objectives and two separate methods should be used. This will not be the mixed method. A mixed method is one when you use the results of one into other. When you use the results of one into other. For example, qualitative, we conducted the interview and we applied the text analytics on the same. Doesn't matter whether you apply this text analytics in R or Python or NVivo. It does not matter. You use any of the software, but here after the text analytics, we frame something that is called as the proposition. Now, proposition is not hypothesis, but it is very similar to hypothesis. Proposition is an assertion. It's a claim. It's a proposed solution, proposed relationship, but it is not coming from the empirical work. Relationship between the variables taken from the empirical work is called as the hypothesis. And on the basis of expert opinion, you make an assertion that it seems people say this has an effect on this. That is called proposition. And then these propositions are quantified and you measure them by standardized scales. And after that, you apply the SAM. I will take a minute to explain this part. See, one scholar say, I want to check the awareness level of the people or which factors are important. And I will use the text analytics for the same. I will conduct interview for the same. And the other one is to study the effect of A on B. Now, these two are separate. These two are separate objectives. Now, since these two are separate objective, it means you can take second first, means the second objective you can handle first, and then first one you can handle later. Absolutely not a problem. Any one you can take first and other as the later. These are two separate things. But when you say, I will conduct the interview, make the proposition, and the proposition will be checked using the survey method. Now you cannot conduct the second one before completing the first one. This becomes mixed method, study 1, study 2. So here, compulsorily, you have to work into domain of, this is study number 1. And the results of the study will be used in the second one. This will be the study number 2. Study number 2. Now see it from the top. I will share this paint file or image file with you. If you have any question or if you feel anything is missed, I missed out something, there are chances I miss out something. So please let me know. If you want to ask something, feel free to ask that. Any doubts, anything you want to ask? So content and face validity. I have left one thing, that is making a new skill. So here one is face validity index and content validity index. These are computed for ensuring the content validity, and construct validity is done by these methods. So let me quickly, this is basically the overview which generally a scholar will learn. In this workshop, how much things will be covered? To cross check. On the day 1, we talked about the model, science, social science, basic, construct, etc. These things. Today we'll talk about the reliability and the validity portion. I will try to cover. Tomorrow, Dr. Atul Shiva will start with the theoretical foundation, making the hypothesis, etc. Then he'll talk about the direct effect. This direct effect he will talk. And then in the subsequent session, he will talk about the indirect effect, like the moderator, mediator, etc. So simple, parallel, serial, MICOM, MG, etc. This Dr. Atul Shiva will discuss. And he will discuss with the software SmartPLS. On the day 5 and day 6, Professor Dhaval Mehta will discuss almost all of these concepts using the software AMOS. AMOS is a different software by IBM company. So concept will be the same. It will be multi-group analysis, interaction effect, simple slope analysis, parallel, serial mediation, etc. What we will not discuss in this workshop will be the model robustness. So model robustness. So if you write model robustness, Professor here or Ringle, so a paper is there. In that paper, they talked about non-linearity, how to check that. Till date, non-linearity checked using R package. So this is not available in any other. Might be Python, it's available, but it's not available in the SmartPLS or AMOS. So here we use the R package for non-linearity. Phemics, POS, etc. Unobserved heterogeneity we can check. Basic idea, think always of cluster analysis. And then endogeneity. Common method biasness leads to endogeneity. It is one portion. And then these are the techniques people work these days. On these techniques, you will find rarely any paper which is on simply on SAM. So people work on the SAM, go for the reliability, validity, check the reliability, validity, go for the model part, direct effect, indirect effect, etc. And then use any of them. These are artificial neural network. Now let me tell you one by one why part, why these are used. So these are the 5 things. Sensitivity analysis is a very recent. I think you won't find it many people discussing about it or in many papers. I learned it recently and made a video on the same. First is ANN. Why ANN? ANN is a technique from the machine learning, and it works on the non-linearity also. Problem with the SAM is it works only on the linearity. Non-linearity is not captured. So a combination of ANN plus SEM is fantastic, because SEM will check the hypothesis testing, cannot do for the non-linear part. ANN works on the non-linearity but cannot work on the hypothesis testing. So that's why a combination is used. Second is IPMA, importance performance map analysis. If you have many variables, how many variables are you are performing very good, and which variables are important. So we make a 2 by 2 matrix, variables which are important, less important, where you are doing fantastic or not doing great. If you remember, if you have read about the BCG matrix, There is something like cow, cash cow, dogs, star, those sort of stuff we can make making the ITMA. Third thing is NCA, necessary condition analysis. In the necessary condition analysis, we talk about the logic. Now please see, there is something called logic says, if you say X lead to Y, if someone say X lead to Y and you say X is a predictor of Y, this is half truth. If I write X lead to Y, from survey method, we can never establish X is a true predictor of Y. Why so? We can find out and run the regression. If R comes like 0.9 or something, can't we say that the X lead to Y? No, we can't. Why so? Because the logic says X lead to Y or X is a predictor of Y only when X lead to Y and not X lead to not Y. Not X lead to not Y. Only in this case, we can say that X is a predictor of Y. Just take an example. One of the organizer, student coordinator perhaps is Sachin. So let's assume Sachin interacted with me on a couple of times, and every time he found me in a very bad behavior or bad mode, bad behavior. So after 4 or 5 interactions, Sachin concluded that Neeraj is always pissed off by looking at me and he is irritated by looking at me. Okay. So Sachin have the example from the 5-6 times he had this, that whenever Sachin is present, Neeraj will misbehave. So he said X lead to Y. Presence of Sachin will make Neeraj upset and he will misbehave. Okay. Now this assertion will be true only when we should check the data in the absence of Sachin how Neeraj misbehave. If in the absence of Sachin also Neeraj misbehave or think unparliamentary sort of things, it means it has nothing to do with the Sachin. Or if it says if Sachin is not there, Neeraj is always very good. If Sachin is there, Neeraj is very bad. In that case, we can say yes, Sachin has an effect on Neeraj. You understand the point? The limitation of the survey work is you say that the leadership has an effect on the motivation. But have you checked when no leader was there, whether motivation was there or not? That's why we always use the experimental method. In the survey method, how can you check not motivation, not leadership? How can you check that? You can't. That's why we use experimental research. Only in the experimental research, we can say X is a predictor of Y. In the survey, you can't. Survey gives you half truth. Now, when you have several of the variable, this technique NCA will tell which variables are mandatory. Which variables are mandatory. If this is not there, no Y. Y will be gone. This is called necessary. And then there is something called the sufficient. The meaning of the sufficient is if not this, any other will do. Let me give an example. In most of the MBA programs, there are the 4 or 5 components of the midterm marks. The 4 or 5 components are just like in NIT Kurukshetra, it goes like this. Attendance got 10 marks. Test 1 got 15 marks. Midterm 1, midterm 2, and the class performance got the 10 marks. Total is the 50. Now, out of these 50, attendance is 10, midterm 1, 15, midterm 2, 15, class performance given by a teacher assessment, it is 10 marks. Total is 50. But out of this, one is extremely important, that is the attendance. So if attendance is not there, remaining are gone. So if attendance is less than 75%, then rest all become the 0. A student will not be able to appear. So we will say this one is necessary. If attendance is not there, less than 65%, less than 50%, you are gone. You got a supplementary in that exam. But others, if you are not able to perform well in the test 1, no problem. Test 2 can compensate that. These will be called as sufficient. A sufficient is one where there is a supplement, where some alternative is present, that is called as the sufficient. A necessary is one, if this is absent, game over. And sufficient is one, if this is absent, maybe there is some substitute available, you can work on the substitute. So NCA technique will tell how many variables are necessary, how many variables are sufficient. That is NCA. And using combined two, it becomes as C-IPMA. Now it is called as C-IPMA, Combined Importance Performance Map Analysis, a very recent concept. In 2024, the developer of SmartPLS has given this concept. FSQCA basically talks about the fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis. There's a separate software for the same. Here we work on the term called configurations. A term used here in FSQCA is configuration. Configuration is the multiplicative effect. In entire regression, we work on the additive effect. Have you noted that in the regression, multiple regression, there is a A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4. We go like additive effect, not the multiplicative effect. FSQCA works on the multiplicative effect. FSQCA will work on the multiplicative effect. So there can be number of ways in which the same variable can be achieved, and that is the which configuration. And finally, the sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis basically says, by making minor changes in the variable, will the result same or will it change? By making minor changes in the variables, will they still be significant or they will become non-significant? That is called as the sensitivity analysis. It can be done in R, not in other. R package is there for that. So you should know about the R. By the way, one more thing. There is a recently the developer of these who made the same one, SmartPLS software. So SmartPLS was made by Professor Ringel and team. So Professor Ringel is instrumental. And now in the 2023, Professor Ringel has provided an open source version of the same. It is called SAM in R. There is an R package, SAM in R. Now, free of cost, you can do almost all the things. Isn't it funny? On the one side, there is a paid software, and using the R, the same thing, everything same, you can get free of cost, almost the same. And then there are so many other capabilities are also there. So this is from my side, the complete bird eye view of what is there, the word of SAM. This complete is the word of SAM, which you should know, you should understand, you should learn sometime. I will share this picture with you. Whenever you get the time, please read it. I have video on all of them, except proposition that I will, in the process, I will make that. Now there are a couple of questions. Let's take some questions asked by the people. So, okay. There's a question from Prasanna. Please share MS Paint from top or Snapchat. Oh, yeah, I will share that. Not a problem with that. Can you please explain the last part? I don't know what is the last part. Pre-SAM. Pre-SAM means I explained that. When we go for the text analytics, in the text analytics, see, this is not the right time to talk about the text analytics, but simple remember, we don't make hypothesis. There is a term called proposition. I will share you a couple of papers. I'm in the process of making those videos. I will share those videos where how to make a proposition and how to quantify and work on the same. Qualitative method is there. That's a mixed method study. If you just follow Professor Arpan Kar, IIT Delhi. Professor Arpan Kar has a number of papers on that, qualitative plus quantitative, proposition plus SAM. He worked on it. Somebody says, Pooja says, अगर हमें जेंडर एनुअल इनकम दोनों का एक साथ मॉडरेटिंग इफेक्ट चेक करना है तो पीएलएस में नहीं कर सकते, आर स्टूडियो में मल्टी ग्रुप करना होगा. No, we can check. Who says? We can check many if there are two moderator on the same relationship, we can check. Absolutely not a problem with that. We can do that. Predictive power. Yes, who is it? Predictive power. Monu. Thanks, Monu, for reminding me. One thing I skipped here. Where to put that? Direct effect, intervening effect, and then we need to put little bit more. A third thing here will be There is a direct effect and there is an indirect effect. We check that. And then the third thing here, we can update in this diagram will be the model comparison. Model comparison. So we can check whether one model is better than the other model in PLSM also. There we make use of the PLS predict. We don't use the conventional method, we use the prediction method. So PLS predict is used here for the model comparison. That will be wrong to say this is part of here, not here in the intervening variable, my mistake. Let me attach that here. It's here. So now this is the concept. So we can work in the structural model, direct effect, intervening variable, or there is a model comparison. Three things we can work in the domain of SEM. In the intervening, there's a mediator and the moderator. Okay. Thank you, Manu, for pointing out this thing. I hope it's okay. Can you please explain the role of predictive power? No, I won't. That is not the part of this particular session. So maybe Dr. Atul will cover that. Navrat says, is it possible to do SAM with 138 sample? Yes, it can be done. Normality is necessary? Absolutely not. So I have shared one paper with you yesterday. The paper, let me show you that paper here also. The paper says when to use and how to. Okay, it got hang. The paper is, I shared the paper with you, when to use and how to report the results of PLSM. So just write it, when to use, how to report the results of PLSM. So you will find this is a paper from open source, when to use and how to report the results of PLSM. Go to this paper, it's available on the ResearchGate. PDF is available of the same. There, the authors talked about, actually this paper is sort of a Bible. Every paper whosoever will refer SAM will work on this particular paper. Everything is reported from here. So 3-4 things they talk about the, let me write here, the assumptions of PLSM. Assumptions of PLSM. And side by side, we are also discussing the difference between the CB-SAM and PLSM. So first point comes as the sample size. Sample size, it can work on the very, very small sample size. There are 3 methods for the sample size, which whenever you work on the sample size, 3 are the things which you should run, you should show in your work. What are the 3 things? Number 1, there is a sample size formula. Any sample size formula you can work. The very prevalent formula is that of Crazy and Morgan, 1970. So use the formula. The 4 formulas are there. One basic formula is N is equal to Z sigma by D whole square. There are the 3 more versions of the same. The second, use the G power. And the third one is, there are the thumb rules. So people generally write all the 3. Now, when it comes to the thumb rules, generally in the CB-SAM, it says how many items are there in your entire scale. If somebody say I have the 20, so multiply by the 10. So 200 is the minimum sample size. That's a thumb rule basically. PLSM says what is the largest construct, not the entire scale, largest construct. Let's say largest construct is of 8. 8 items are there in that largest construct. So multiply by 10 on the sample of 80, you can work in the PLSM. So 10 times rule in the CB-SAM, AMOS, it says 10 times number of statement in the scale, entire, all the scales. While in the PLSM, 10 times number of statement in the largest construct. So it can work on a very small sample size. The second point, it can work on the no assumption of normality. PLSM works on the normality, but here you can say even if you don't have a normally distributed data, no assumption of normality is there. There is no such assumption of normality in the PLSM. So don't worry about that. Actually, people write, probably I made a playlist of this. In that, probably first or second video is why we should use PLSM. You must write some reasons for the same. And reason for the same is one of the reason is that CBSAM asks data to be normally distributed, which is never. Likert scale is never normally distributed, but PLSM says no such argument is there. This is the second. Third, we can handle the formative as well as reflective, both. We can handle formative and the reflective, both sort of stuff we can handle. In the CBSAM, we can handle only the reflective one. Fourth, we can very comfortably handle the higher order effects, higher constructs. Higher order constructs we can handle very comfortably. So there are the four types: RR, reflective, 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 formative, formative, reflective, and formative, formative. AMOS can handle only the first, reflective, reflective. AMOS, since it cannot handle formative, so rest of the three versions it will not be able to handle. SmartPLS can handle very comfortably all of such things. Number 5, it can work on the very complex models. Very complex model, it can handle the serial mediation, moderated mediation, every sort of stuff it can handle very, very comfortably. This can handle. So these are the couple of things. There is a good things in the PLSM which are not there in AMOS. The rest, Professor Dhaval Mehta will give you a detailed critique of what and why in the PLSM. Okay, something else, other question. So Navrat, your question was, is it possible to do SAM with 138? Yes. Generally, higher sample size is advisable. I will advise always go, if you are doing PhD, you should have a sample size of 600 to 1000. 130, 120 MBA students, they use, even their sample is more than that. See, basic problem is generalization. Don't make a shortcut now that my work is finished, because when you go for paper publication, there will be question marks on that. Go for the last data. Second, normality, no such assumption is there. You can work very comfortably here. So multi-group we can do very, very comfortable. Can you please explain importance of C-IPMA? Professor Dr. Atul Shiva will explain that C-IPMA and how to report the results of IPMA. Atul has papers on the same. He will share that stuff with you. Gender ratio of 70 to 30, it is justifiable. If you want to take it as a moderator variable, then it's better to take almost equal. One method is you can use SPSS option of select case. From the 70%, you can take, like say, out of the 100 people, you got 70 boys and 30 female. 30 girls are there. So what you can do, use the select option, select case option in SPSS. Out of the 70 boys, randomly choose 30 boys and then compare with the 30 girls. So make the sample size same. You can do that in SPSS. That option is there, select cases. Sample size again and the power that you have shared in the data analytics. What sample size? Priyanka, question is not clear, especially the power that you have shared in data analytics. Question is not clear, Priyanka. What do you want to ask? What scale of data is required for the SAM? Interval or ratio? Minimum scale, Likert scale, or any other sort of scale that will do, or the ratio variable, both. Non-metric data, it can handle. Yeah, there is one more thing. Two more things actually. Beautiful things of SAM. Number 6, it can handle the binary variable. AMOS cannot handle binary variable, but it can handle the binary variable. Okay. Binary variable as the IDV or the DV or the moderator, anything. The binary variable can be DV, it can be IDV, or it can be the moderator. SmartPLS can very comfortably handle. And last, it can handle the single item construct. Single item construct, one item construct, it can very comfortable handle. AMOS require minimum 3 statements for a construct. We can work on the 2 also. If 2 items are there, we can work, but preferably 3 items minimum in the AMOS. In the SmartPLS, we can work on the single item also. Okay, there's a question. Please tell how to check the validity, liability, and reports HOC. Actually, in the paper, I'm using this. Okay. Yeah, I will cover. I will after this, I will cover that. Take the liability and the validity part. Don't worry about that. If there is any other question, you can ask. If there is any other question, so you can ask. Let me save this SAM word, the word of SAM, the word of SAM, and let me save it. This I will share with you. If any question is there, you can ask, else we can go ahead and okay. पूजा says अगर हम gender को लेकर चलते हैं, Pooja, why you are writing WhatsApp like English? Can't you write in English, Pooja? What sort of English is this? I won't reply, Pooja. Write in proper language. This WhatsApp I don't prefer. Sana says how to determine effect size of sample size determination. Sana, there is an effect size of 3, 15, and the 30. I will advise you to take sample effect size of 15. That's a moderate sample size that you can take. Always give references. I think you are talking in terms of G power. Always give references for that, but sample effect size of 15, medium effect size can be taken for consider. Priyanka says first assumption of the sample size using G power. Okay, Priyanka, please do one thing. There is a Google group. It says groups.google.com data analysis training. It's an open group, no membership required. Absolutely. If you have an email ID on Gmail, so simply you go to that groups.google.com. There search in continuation data analysis training. Okay, data analysis training. Search that. Let me show you that. So I've typed groups.google.com and data analysis training. It's taking a little time. Okay. Just probably yesterday I have written in a very detail about the G power. So you can read it from there. And I have some videos on that YouTube. You can read it from there. So Sajid says, if a value in reliability is not in accordance and discriminant validity is clear, can we proceed it further? Sajid, see, reliability is mentioned only in case of reflective construct. The same item is asked again and again. Now, what happens if reliability is not coming? There is a method of improving reliability. You should remove the item with the lowest beta, and your reliability will improve. Your reliability will improve. Okay, so there is a method for improving. And one more thing, whenever you say about the reliability, always mention along with the Cronberg alpha, McDonald omega also. Its value should also be greater than 0.7. If you find omega value is greater than 0.7, but alpha is not, refer the omega and go ahead with it. Don't worry about that. But there are methods to improve the reliability. Jyoti says, in case interview method, what should be the sample size for the pilot testing? Jyoti, attend any workshop on the qualitative, people will answer it there. This is not the right platform to ask about the qualitative one. Pooja says, if we take gender into account, we easily do multi-group analysis by dividing the 2 category, male, female. How to do with the income category, age category when there are more than 2 are there? Generally, Pooja, it is recommended that you go with the, first let me check why internet is not behaving properly at my end. First point is, Pooja, you can convert a multiple choice question into the binary question by considering any of the median category or the mode category. You can compare that. Or even if you wish to know, wish to compare 3 category, you can do the same puja, but cannot be done in the SmartPLS. Use the R package CSAM for that. Use the R package CSAM. So I have a video on the same, how to work on the CSAM package in the R Studio. There you can compare 3 category, 4 category also. You can compare there. But in the SmartPLS, you can't. You have to convert into the binary. Yes, you can convert A and B, A and C, A and D, B and C, B and D, but that it will be too diluted. So either convert to 2 category or you go for the CSAM package. There you can do that. So in my case, probably there is some problem with my browser. So in the meanwhile, you can check right on the YouTube, Neeraj Kaushik CSAM, small c, SEM. There is a package, Neeraj Kaushik CSAM, and you can write a moderator with 3 category. So you will find a video on the same. Gaurav says, in case of MCDM, how many experts will be required? Gaurav, attend any workshop of MCM and experts will answer you there. See, my idea was to give you a holistic point of view, but I have been given a syllabus also to cover. If I start covering the MCDM and the ANN, etc., then whatever topic, the topic will be left out. So please ask question only the relevant to this. Qualitative MCDM, time series analysis, maybe this is not the right platform to ask. So let me stop sharing and see what's the problem with my browser. Any other question to anyone? You can ask, please. Else we will start with the validity and the reliability part. Okay, then let's start with the reliability and the validity part, and how to go ahead. This system is not behaving properly. So let me check again. I'm sharing my screen. Please confirm if my paintbrush is visible. I hope it's visible. So let me start a new page.
Yes, sir.
So we'll talk about the first one by one. The 4 things we need to talk: reliability and validity of the reflective and the formative construct. These are the items. And prior to that, we need to talk about the multiple regression also. So let's quickly talk about the multiple regression. And in the multiple regression, can somebody tell me what was the agenda of the first session today? Is the multiple regression covered?
It was EFA, sir.
Sorry?
EFA, sir.
EFA, exploratory factor analysis is covered.
Yes, sir.
Then it should not be a problem. Multiple regression is covered or not?
No, sir.
Multiple regression is not covered. Actually, all these things are the offshoot of multiple regression. The mediation, moderation, direct, indirect, everything in the statistics is regression. And regression is one of the most important thing. So let me spend some half an hour on the regression. And because all other things are offshoot of that. So a couple of terms will be there, a couple of names will be there. So I will utilize 15 to 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes on regression. Just be with me so that it will be easy for me to cover the rest. What I need to cover is the reliability and the validity of formative and the reflective. The answer is very simple. There are a couple of indicators, 5 indicator, 3 indicator, 1 and 2 indicator, and SmartPLS will give you those. You no need to compute them. But I will try to, so that part is extremely easy. Click, it will give you the values, and this is the cutoff value. That part can be covered only in the 15-20 minutes. That's not a big deal. I will take the longer route. I will try to explain why it is, where from it comes, and what is the meaning of that. If you got it, fantastic. If you don't understand, then we come to the last part, like these are the value and this is the minimum cutoff should be there. So I'm starting with the regression. In the regression, what we do actually. So there is a X series, there is a Y series. This is Y and this is X. And let me generate random data. So 10 and the 50. I'm taking a very small sample. 10 values only. Though whenever you work on the regression, a Green's formula is there. Green formula says 50 plus 8K. K means the number of independent variable. So 50 plus 8 into number of variable. If you got one independent variable, 1. So minimum sample of 58 is required for running the regression. But here for the demo purpose, I am using a small one. The correlation is minus 0.08. So let me try to increase this. Okay, make it as 22. 17, 11, 42, 43, 17 will be 21. 32 is 13. 21 it's 10. No. 16 is 27. No, it's 38. 46 it's 17, so 56. And 37, 43. So let me make it as 12. Oh, that's good enough. Okay. I paid a dummy data. This is X and the Y. Now, let's quickly see how we proceed in the regression or what actually is the regression. Regression is very, very near to something called astrology. I don't know whether you are taught about astrology or not, but must be taught to you. What we do in the regression and what we do in the astrology is almost the same. In both, we want to know about the future. In both, there are certain methods, certain techniques are there of analysis. In regression, we have the OLS regression, MLE method, PLS method, 2SLS method. In astrology also, they say we have the charts, kundali, hand is there, face is there, tarot cards are there. And these days, those octopus and the elephants are also there. They will tell you your future. In both, we start with the previous data. And we try to understand the pattern and we go on the same. Going on the pattern, it is called as the extrapolation. So first thing, please remember, regression never tells you about the future. Any English word that starts with re has back in that. When you remember, you don't remind of the future things, you remind of the past things. Remind is also about the past. When you get a re in exam, reappear in the exam, you give the same exam, not the future exam. Any English word with the re, how can there be future in that? It has the past in that. So how can the regression tell you about the future? Regression will never tell you about the future. It tells about the past. It tells about your data and the pattern in the data. Extrapolation tells about the future, not the regression. So first thing in the regression is people will ask, like, let's do them both side by side. For example, most of you want to know when you will get married. So you go to a Panditji in Bhopal. So before you go to any Panditji in Bhopal and want to know about your future, what is recommended? I don't know how many of you believe in the astrology or don't believe in the astrology, but I have some time-tested tips for you. Go to astrologer and pay the money and never ask about the future. Go to the astrologer and never ask about the future. First, ask about the past. So we will start like this. We will start these are the events of my life and these are the time period. So I write that 10 events or something. I met an accident and that was in the May 2006. Okay. Then I topped in the class. It was in the June 2008. Then got married. This was the December 2010 and got the first child in the January 2012. Then got the second child. It was in the Feb 2017. Then got the promotion. It was in the March 2020. Okay, I have written the events like that. Now you can go to the astrologer and after paying the money and fully cooperating. Okay, this is my hand, this is my date of birth, my name, the spelling, whatever you want to know me, I am ready to cooperate. But I will ask the astrologer, you tell me when I was married. Okay, now you have this science and you can tell about the future. There should not be absolutely no problem in telling about my past. Okay, I will ask the future also and may pay extra money for that. But first tell me about my past. Now, please see, we can talk in two terms. I can ask, please tell me when I got married, tell me the time period. Or I can ask, tell me what significant development happened in my life in Jan 2012. Correct answer is I got my first child. So, first is you give event and ask the time, or you give the time and ask the event. In regression, it is called X on Y and Y on X. You got the idea? What is X on Y? What is Y on X? Okay. Now I'm ready to cooperate. So here is my data. Y data is there. So I'm now side by side. There is a consultant in the business house, and there is an astrologer for my personal life. We are looking for that. The business house hires a consultancy and asks what will be the future sales. Now the consultant says, okay, give me some data. These are the data. Now, are there variation in the data in the Y series? Look at the Y series. Are there variation? Yes. Can you quantify the variation? How much is the variation? One simple interview question. Let me ask you. You know how we confuse the students, those who have just completed their PhD. Like the question asked to them is, in a regression equation, R square was found to be 72%. When we say 72%, it's 72% of what? I have this question because when I say I got 72% marks in my PG, so there is a total of 600 marks and 72% of 600 was the marks obtained. So there is a grand total 700. My question here is when you say there is a R square of 62% or 72%, what is that grand total? About which 72% is explained. What is that grand total? And 99% students or the faculty members are clueless. This it's a 72%. 72% of what? That is the total amount of variation. How to find that? There is a simple method of finding that. Find the average of the Y series. Let me put it bold, 30.3. Okay. Find out the dy, the variation. How much are the variation of this from 30.3? These are the variations. Some are positive, some are negative. Okay. Then if I get the total of it, the problem will be this will be 0. Don't worry about this 7 into this. What is E? Make it as the number. This is the 0. Some variations are on the negative side, some variation on the positive side. Overall, it's a 0. So what I will do dy square is equal to this cap 2, and this becomes as all values will become positive, and this value comes as 2116. It's a very, very important number. This is what is called as the total variation. This is the total variation about which R square will be 72%. So it means if I'll just go ahead with my paint brush here, if I'll ask you for a moment, what is the role of your mother in your life? How to explain that? What is the role of quantify? Let's come to the beauty of quantifying the things. So how to find out the role of your mother in your life? So maybe if we can specify this circle is you, this circle is you. In your life, there are so many people. One person is your mother also. So this is your mother, Ma. And this is the common shaded region. So please remember all the students, whenever you write an objective with the word as role, what is the role of this? The nearest technique which can answer is the percentage. Only percentage can tell you a little bit about the role. Mean, median, mode, SAM, they are not useful. Now, if we know what is the total circle, value of total circle. So value of total circle is 2116.1. How we computed that? We computed that, take the average in the Y series, find the dy, y minus y bar, get the total, it's 0. So get the square of dy and get its total, summation dy square. So what is this? This is summation of dy square. First I have done the square and then the summation. Instead of doing so much hard work in Excel, there is a very small formula for the same. We can find it out is equal to DEVSQ. The Excel formula is DEVSQ, and this is the series, and the answer comes to 2116.1. So it says DEVSQ says find the deviation from what? From the mean. Do the square, DEVSQ, do the square and get the total of all the squares. In one go, so many steps we have done. So let me remove this dy etc. and we say that actually this 2116 is a very important number. This is the amount of the variation. Now we say, okay, applications are invited. Anybody can come and explain this. Explain the why. X say, I am here. X comes into picture. Now, for a moment, just think of, I need a volunteer here. So let's take our volunteer as Monu. Monu is a research scholar or faculty? Please tell me. Manu? You can type RA or FAC. Are you research scholar or faculty, Manu? So my example is not something like belittling, that not for faculty, but just for my understanding I'm asking. No answer? Anybody else know Monu and the designation of Monu? She's both. Wonderful. Okay, so let's assume that we will play a play. We will go for a play of Anarkali, Salim Anarkali, and Monu will be the Anarkali. Monu is given the role of Anarkali. Now, how Monu will start? Monu will do some research, how Anarkali used to speak, used to talk, used to walk, dressing sense, etc. She will go out and she will take some sort of costume of Anarkali. Okay, she is doing proper rehearsals, and finally the day comes, the final play is enacted, and there is on the stage Monu is there as Anarkali. Now, those who know Monu, like the Monu's parents, Monu's family members, will they see on the stage Anarkali or Monu? Whom will see on the stage? Will it be Anarkali or will it be Monu? Or it's Monu who is trying to be Anarkali. Inside, she's Monu. Everybody, the near and dears know she's Monu, but now she is trying to be Anarkali. Likewise, the case here, we invited X. X will say, I will become Y. X will say, I will become Y. Allow me, just like Monu takes some dresses, some costume, some way of delivery. It says, I will take the two value A and B. A is called as the intercept, not iterate. Intercept. Intercept is non-Y. So this is the Y. Non-X, this is the X. I am doing little quick things here. Instead of solving it by two regression equation, I am using two Excel formula of finding out the slope and this. And here it says YC. Now YC is something is equal to A plus B into X. So this is YC. Now what is YC? Inside the YC, please remember, inside the YC is the X. Do you understand what is this YC? YC is equal to A plus B into X. YC is equal to A into B, A plus B into X. Inside that there is the X, which is trying to become as the Y. Inside it is the X. X multiplied by something, added something. Monu took a particular costume, trying to speak in a way, and she says, now I'm Anarkali. The same way it will be the YC. Now, how much good it is? Check this out. What is the total of this? Total of this is 303. And what is the total of this? 303. Y is same. Summation YC is exactly the same. But are there any differences? So we'll say, let's take it as residual. What's the gap between the two? So we take 43 minus 34. These will be called as the residuals. These will be called as the residual. Just take for a moment what I have done. Take the example back to this sort of event and astrologer. I went to the astrologer. I asked the astrologer, tell me what happened in May, or I met an accident. Tell me when I met an accident. Astrologer said, it seems in March 2002, you met it was a bad time. You met a accident, March 2006. Actually, it was May 2006. Not 100% correct. So this is it okay if I write post-predicted? It's not predicted, or predicting about the past. Predicting about the past. And how much is the gap? Gap is something like March, April, May. 2 months is the gap for that. Further, the astrologer tells me, it seems August 2000 time is a very good time for the academic excellence. Well, actually, it was this one. So first it was minus 2 months. The next it was plus 2 months. Are you with me? Are you understanding what I'm saying? I am asking a prediction from the, or rather post prediction from the astrologer. Astrologer told me something. Actually, event was accident happened in the May 2006. Prediction was it is in the March 2006. There is a gap of 2 months. Actual was I talked in June 2008. Astrologer predicted August 2008 time for academic excellence. Again, there is a gap of this. Astrologer say it seems Feb 2011 you got married. Now actually married in this. So again, there is a gap of 3 months. Not a very fantastic prediction, but okay. This so big life, and out of that a gap of 2 months is reasonably okay. Now I have a question here. How many prediction should be correct from that astrologer that he will ask your past? I repeat, out of the 10, if you go for the 10 life event, how much life event should be connected very closely by the astrologer? You got confidence that yes, I can ask about my future. How much? 5 will be okay, 6 will be okay, or something. Anyone can type a number on behalf of all the participants. Out of the 10 events, how much event are reasonably good that you got confidence and ask about your future? 7, more than 6. Okay. Here comes one more picture, one more point into the picture, probability. Sarthak says, I will be happy with the 5. Sarthak, please remember there is a probability also. I can tell you some part-time astrology, Sarthak. Sarthak, if there is a girl who is pregnant, and if she asks you whether it will be a male or a female baby, so you can tell it will be any one of male or female. And you will be 100% time, 100% correct. Do you understand, Sarthak, what I'm saying? If I predict there will be a male baby, 50% of the chances 50% of the times I will be correct. Where is the probability? So simply probability is also there. So minimum limit is the probability. It is beyond probability. Make a prediction which is beyond probability. Remember where we are going. We are going for P value, significance value. How much is the significance? Make effort. It is beyond probable, not a guesswork, beyond probability. So basically the same thing we are trying to do it here. So what, like I was talking about the astrologer, etc., all this stuff. The same thing is happening here. There was a X, there was a Y. I know when X was 22, actual was 43. You tell me prediction, and you predicted it will be 34. Not very good. When it was 37, when it was X was 17, actual was 37. The prediction was it will be 39. Can you see? Plus minus, plus minus. Now the question comes, how much good it is? how much good it is. How to know that? So earlier we worked on the 2116 using a method. Apply the same method here also. Is equal to DEVSQ. This comes 806. It means now if I write instead of me and you, if I write here, this is the X part and this is the Y part. Total variation is 2116. Out of that, what X can cover? What is the shaded region? Shaded region is nothing but the YC. Why? Shaded region is part of the X. And this is the, what is Y? Mono trying to become anarchally. Mono trying to become anarchally. So that is YC. That is the common shaded region. And how much is the YC? It says I am 806 point how much? 9337. How much is the percentage? A portion of the YC divided by the portion of the Y. 806.93 divided by 2116.1. How much it will be there? Let's see. Is equal to this value divided by this value, 38%, and this 38% is called as the R square. Do you understand what is R square? Let me ask one question from you. How much you know about your father? This question is to all of you. Do you know your father was once a teenager? Do you know all his stories, what he used to do in childhood, in the teenage? No, probably you don't know. You don't know number of the things. And equally good, your father doesn't know every single thing about you. There are so many things about you which your best friend knows, which maybe your teachers know, maybe the other people in the society know, but your father is totally clueless. There are a number of things. And likewise the same. So my question is, how much is common between you and your father will be the R square. Will be the R square. The common shaded region between the two persons will be the R square. You got the point? The common shaded region will be the R square. So now the question comes, if there is a X1 here, and if comes X2, now we are entering into the interesting domain of multiple regression. Before that, let's once again conclude what we have done in the regression, all this stuff, calculations, etc. Calculations are extremely simple. Don't go into an integrity. Point is, there is a Y, and you want to call anyone who can predict that. By the way, a simple regression everyone is using every single time you are using regression. You may not know it. Karan Johar used to say, my movies must have the KKK. Only then it will be hit, otherwise it will be flop. So kuch hota hai. 4 alphabets should be there with names repeating. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. It should be lengthy name, otherwise it will be flop movie. I have seen so many boys and girls, they say, if I wear the red suit, I fight with the people. If I wear this green suit, my day is good. Or if I put the watch this way, day will be good. What you are doing? You are associating something with something. And you are feeling very happy about those things. I don't know about the Bhopal or rest of the India. In Delhi, 70% of the girls have one black thread in their leg, in one of the foot. One black thread is there. So what so? It prevents us from the evil spirits and the ill people. Fantastic. Have it ever checked experimentally? No, but it works for me. And these are the people who call their grandmother as superstition, but they are very rational and logical. They have their logic. A black thread in the one leg will prevent me from the buri nazar. Fine. This is nothing but regression. Associating anything with anything, that is a regression. If we are trying to do it with systematically, that's OLS regression, ordinary least square regression. So what we are doing, there is a X. Now X here says, I skipped that part which must have been taught to you in graduation. Summation Y is equal to A summation X, NA plus B summation X, and summation XY is equal to A summation X plus B summation X square. These are called as the two normal equations. Using these two normal equations, we get the value of A and B. I skipped that part. I used the Excel formula. This is the Excel formula. where A can be computed by intercept. The formula of A is the intercept, first the Y series, then the Y series. And the formula of B, it's a slope, S-L-O-P-E, slope. Using this A and B, I computed the value of YC. YC is equal to A plus BX. X trying to become as Y. Okay, if you become as the Y, how much is the total variation you have explained? The total variation explained are 806. How much were the total? Total were 2116. What percentage is explained? The percentage of part explained is 38%. 38% is explained. Is it good or bad? We'll see to that. By the way, if I just show you here, if for those who know how to work on the multiple regression in Excel, click on the data analysis toolbar, go to the regression. Okay. Now Y series is this is Y. The X series is this X, non-X. Label in the first row means don't read the first column, and give the output here itself into this sheet. It's a F1. Okay, it is given in the new sheet. Let me take it to the old sheet here itself. I want you to just check this out, a couple of things which I have explained it here. Otherwise, software provides you very fast. Let me do it up to 2 decimal place so that you can see it comfortably. Give me a minute. Again, I'm saying you don't require to do mathematics, but just understand it. Just understand what we are trying to do. What is this 2116? Check this out, this number. 2116. Just check this out. Are you able to connect this? 2116. What is 2116? 2116 is the total amount of variations. What is this 806.9? That is the explained part. Explained part. Okay. So what is the explained part here? Where from? Check it out here in the ANOVA table. You will find it. Just check this. Shall I zoom it? I know most of the people, they close their mind as soon as numbers are started. They close their mind. They say, no, now it is going above my head. Just try to understand what is 2116, total amount of variation. How we computed it? Take the average, how much every number is away from the average, and the square of that. If I'll ask you, what is the year you are okay in the life? Neither very high nor very low. Was there any year in your life you are not very high, not very low, a very okay sort of year? Consider that as the base year and compare every year. This year I was high, this year I was low, high or low. Square of that, add. That is your variation in your life. What is this 2116? Summation dy whole square. What is that? What is dy? Deviation from the average, square of that and get total. This is the total amount of variation, 2116. How much is the explained? How to explain? We computed this. Check it out whether these numbers I have written here, 55.62, 97. Are they same or not? Check it out. These numbers, they are same. These numbers, they are the same. These are used for writing the regression equation. Y is equal to 56.62 minus 0.9779 into X. This is used to write the regression equation. After this, I wrote this regression equation. This becomes as the YC regression equation. How much is the gap between the two? Residual. Now tell me one thing, residuals are good or bad? Higher value of residual is good or lower value of residual is bad? If you go to the astrologer, marriage was in March 2020 and astrologer says December 2020. Will that be good or March 2020 will be good? Lower value is good. Lower value is good. And you got it? Lower value. The gap between the actual and the prediction The lower the value, better it is. So how much is the residual total? Residual total, well, again, it is 0 because some are positive, some are negative. Do the same with the residuals also. Means do the square and add it. So let me do RES square, residual square is equal to this value cap 2. And what is their total? Their total comes 806. No, this is not residual. Basically, just let me check what's wrong, what's mistaken. And get the total. Total is 806 residual. Yeah, residual will be 806. Now, what is this? It means what method we are working with? Ordinary least square of residuals. This is the complete name. Generally, we refer it as OLS regression, ordinary least square, but we forget to mention the complete least square of what this method says. Using the same data set, apply any other method, apply the MLE method, apply the PLS method, any other method. Find out the YC by other methods also. After applying the other method, then probably this is mistaken. Let me just cross check. I got some curiosity. Is this value correct? Some issue I see here. Y minus YC whole square. Okay, this value I should take as DEVSQ from there. 1309, right. I think I have given for the residual. It's a 1309 explained part, and this is the unexplained part, 806, right. Let me explain what I'm saying. You take X and the Y series, use any algorithm, MLE, PS, etc., predict the Y, get the residual, and get the square of the residual. This by OLS method, this will be the least value. This will be the least value. 30.3 is the average. 30.3 is the average of the Y series. This is the average of the Y series, 30.3. And this is the deviation. Total variance, this much. This much is the explained variance. And this much is the residual. This much is the residual. The same value you can tally from here. So 1309 will be this value. 1309, 2116 is here, and residual is 806. What the OLS method says? OLS method says ordinary least square of residual. Find out the YC by any other method. Go for the gap Y minus YC. Lower the gap, better it is. But the total of residual will be 0. So square of the residual, and then get the total. By OLS method, you will get the least value. Here, 2 more things I want to share, and then we can take your questions. One term is R, one is capital R, and one is beta. There are the 3 terms. These 3 terms will be fundamental in the CFA and the SEM. R is the relation between X and Y. Relation between X and Y is called as the small r, and the formulas for the same is CORREL, CORREL. So this is Y series and this is X series, 0.786. 0.786. Capital R is the relation between Y and YC, not X and Y. Capital R is the relation between Y and YC, the same CORREL formula. So there is a Y and there is a YC. I have computed YC here. And beta is the relation between ZX and ZY. And it will be exactly same that of the R. So please just see that and note it down. There are the 3 terms. One term is, it is called as, okay, minus 0.77. It's not sign 787. Three terms I will use again and again in the domain of CFA. Actually, you should come through regression and the multiple regression. Through that, you should come to SEM. Small r is the relation between x and y. Capital R is the relation between y and yc. Check it out. It is called multiple R. Multiple R. That is the between y and yc, and beta is the relation between zx and the zy. One more thing, please note here that the beta and R will always be same. Beta and R will always be same. However, the capital R will be same in the magnitude, may not be same in the sign. Just note this thing. Small r and beta will always be same in the magnitude and the sign. Capital R will always be same in the magnitude, but it can never be positive, it never be negative. It is always positive. It is always positive. So these three will be same. Now let me coin a couple of terms here, which will be used later. What is R? R is the relation between x and y. What is capital R? Capital R is the relation between y and yc. Now yc, what is yc? Yc is equal to a plus bx. Both will be exactly same, but R will always be, just imagine it as modulus. It will never be negative. Small r can be positive and negative. And beta is the relation between zx and zy. Now, there is no time to discuss about the Z score, standardized score. If you know, fantastic. Else, some other workshop we can talk about it. What is R square? What is the common between y and yc? Common between y and yc. The more will be the independent variable, R square will increase. So we discussed yesterday adjusted R square. That is 1 minus R square, n minus 1 divided by n minus k minus 1, where the n is the sample size, k is the number of independent variable. Adjusted will not increase. After some time, it will decrease. This is the another thing we should know. There will be one more thing, F square. F square will be effect size. R square is always mentioned from the perspective of dV. How much individual IDV is contributing, that is called as the F square. This is called as the F square. ZX and ZY, these are called as the what? Standardized values. These are called as the standardized value. These values are given by the formula x minus x bar by sigma. Z is given by the formula x minus x bar by sigma. These are the standardized value, also called as the normalized values. This is the nomenclature which I will use. And a term, we call it as simple regression. The term will be called as the simple regression when there is one DV and one IDV. Just see, after some time, I will ask you questions again and again. Just please note it down somewhere. IDV1, DV1, it is called simple regression. And what is the multiple regression? In the multiple regression, DV is always 1, but IDV is more than 1. What is multiple regression? In the multiple regression, DV is 1, but IDV is more than 1. It is called as the multiple regression. Okay. Simple regression, DV is 1, IDV is 1. Multiple regression, the DV is 1, DV is always 1. But when IDV is more than 1, it will become multiple. Simple and the multiple regression. Now you can ask for your questions. For 15 minutes we will apply, and 3:15 we will take a break. We started at 1:15, so 3:15 we will take a break. 20 minutes are there. Before I go ahead, you please ask your questions or doubts. Anything you want to ask? Anything not clear to you? So these are the things. One thing, whether you ask it or not, I tell you, this is a level 5 workshop. And irony is, most of the people, they come to the level 5 without knowing anything about the lower level. That's up to the organizers for them to decide how to, take people which are very similar. Now, in this workshop, there are the people who have done numerous workshops or attended the workshops, and they are here for the specific questions. At the same time, there are people who are wondering what is a variable, how to write the hypothesis. Well, I will all say one genius of your generation, Funsuk Wangdu, has said, knowledge is free, just get the knowledge. So try to make sense, but better if you attend some lower level workshop first. It's a higher level workshop, level 5 workshop you are in. These are the stuff of the level 2 workshop, which I'm discussing. What is R, what is beta, what is simple regression, what is multiple regression, etc. Now, let me go ahead and ask you a couple of questions here. If I make a diagram like this is a construct, satisfaction. Satisfaction got 3-4 items, and it's a reflective construct. So meaning of the reflective construct will be arrow will be there. And in the reflective, what is the direction of the arrow? Will it be towards the circle or will it be towards the box? Any idea? Yesterday we discussed who comes first, what causes what, reflective and the formative. Anyone remembers that? What is the direction of the arrow? Towards the box. It becomes as the reflective. My question is this a case of multiple regression or simple regression? This is a case of simple regression or multiple regression? Your answer is in front of you. You can just cross check. What is simple regression? What is multiple regression? Is it a case of simple regression or multiple regression? So my feedback is not what you will write on the day 5 in the box. My feedback is what you are answering here. Okay. Whenever maybe I have not explained it properly. So let me go again. Whenever we make a diagram like this, this one is called as the IDV. This one is called as the DV. IDV and the DV. Just remember again, couple of names, because we have a tradition, everything should have many names. So let's write their several names. Their several names are IDV is also called as predictor, and DV is called as the outcome variable. Outcome is called as the antecedent, and this is called as the consequence. IDV is called as the independent variable, and this is called as the dependent variable. One of the most important, IDV is called as the exogenous variable, and DV is called as the endogenous variable. The English word endo, exo, EX means out. Any word of English that starts with EX, any word of English that starts with EX must have out in that. Cross check. Whether it's an exit or exodus, export or external, it must be pointing towards out. So when the arrow is going out, this will be called as independent variable or exogenous variable. When endo, en means inside, en. So whether you talk about the embedded system, whether you talk about anything, en, entry, enter, is always inside. So endogenous variable is the variable which arrow goes inside. From independent arrows go outside, from dependent arrows go inside the variable. Does this make sense? So independent arrow will go out, dependent arrow goes inside. Now look at the diagram of the reflective once again and tell me out of the satisfaction and set one, which one is independent, which one is dependent? Just tell me that. Out of this let me write its complete name. It's satisfaction. Out of the satisfaction and set one, which one is dependent, which one is independent? What's your point of view?
Satisfaction will be independent and SAT1, SAT2 will be dependent. No?
Very true. Satisfaction is independent and set one is dependent, right? Set two is also dependent, set three is also dependent. So is it a case of multiple regression or is it a case of simple regression? Simple regression or multiple regression?
This is more than that because there are more dependent variables.
Correct.
So this is not even multiple regression, because in a multiple regression you have many independent variables and one dependent variable.
Very true. So can I say these are the 4 cases of simple regression?
Yes, we can say that.
Monu says neither simple nor multiple. You are all teaching out of syllabus, asking question anything, right, Manu? Saying something, asking something.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, there is only one construct, and SAT1, SAT2, SAT3 are the items, I believe. These are the statement of the satisfaction, no?
Very true.
Which I have written.
Very
So,
true.
sir, in simple regression, there is one independent and one dependent is there. So, must be there 2 variables. So, sir, should be there na, for to making that one relationship, or in multiple we have it should have more than one construct or more variable, more than one. So these are the items representing here. These are not the, I believe, the construct SAT1, SAT2, SAT3.
Manu, I hope it's Monu is speaking here or
Yes,
somebody.
sir.
Monu.
Yes. No. I'm Monu Cha. Yes, sir.
Finally, your mic is working. You are trying from yesterday. Okay, Monu, life is
yes,
very
sir.
complicated. Let's try to keep it simple.
Okay.
Forget about the construct and the item and this and that, what the logic says. My simple question is, there is a box, there is a circle, and there is an arrow. And looking from the arrow, on the top, I have written it here that, check it out here, I have written a simple regression is when dv is 1, idv is 1, and multiple is there when dv is 1, idv more than 1. My question here is, how many dependent variables are there?
Okay, there are 4, sir.
4 are there. How many independent are there?
1.
1 is there, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
these are the 4 cases of simple regression.
Okay. All right, sir.
Manu, it's sticking to your mind, it's creating problem because dv is only 1. Had it been, I will write satisfaction 4 times and single arrow, then it's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Only problem is there is only one satisfaction. If I write 4 satisfaction and 4 arrows are there, then you will say now it's okay. There are the 4 cases of simple regression.
Yes, sir.
But it's not the case of multiple regression.
Obviously, sir, it's not a multiple तो नहीं है, sir, ये.
Multiple नहीं है ना, simple regression है. और simple regression में what I told you, R is equal to capital R is equal to beta. This is the rule in the simple regression.
Yes, sir.
Simple regression में R और beta same होते हैं, एक ही होते हैं बातें. In the simple regression, R and the beta is the same. So it means if I'll run a regression and I will get the value of the R here or the beta here, one and the same thing. If I
Yes,
run the
sir.
simple regression,
Understood.
in the simple regression, I get a construct score. From the score, item is with me. If I predict it, I will get the value of the R.
Yes, sir.
आ जाएगा ना यहाँ से?
हाँ जी, yes, sir.
यहाँ से हमारी स्टोरी शुरू होती है. So if you understand the concept of regression, which I tried to explain you in a very weird manner, but if you got it, fantastic. If you don't get it, absolutely nothing to lose. चलिए आगे चलते हैं इससे. थोड़ा सा हम एक
Okay,
बार
so
ये
we can
समझते
say
हैं.
these are the four cases of simple regression, right? है ना?
These are the 4 cases of simple regression. Very true. And
Okay.
just the reverse of that, Manu. If I'll just get the reverse of that, this one, copy and the paste. And just let me make one change here. This change. Now, Manu, what is the case? This?
Now it is multiple regression.
Now it's a multiple regression. ठीक है? तो ये
And now
हमारा
R
हो गया
and capital R will be different.
multiple regression. Now small r and capital R are different. Small capital R की हम कभी नहीं बात करेंगे, हम small r की बात करेंगे. ठीक है? और इस केस में इसको R भी नहीं लिखेंगे, यहाँ पे हम इसको लिखेंगे B. B means regression coefficient. B1, B2, B3. B1, B2, B3, B4. ये लिखेंगे हम इसको. This is what formative. तब आप साथ साथ these are more like pieces of jigsaw puzzle given to you. You need to add them. A formative construct is nothing but a case of multiple regression. And a reflective construct is nothing but a case of several simple regression. And why this arrow direction goes from circle to box and box to circle, I explained yesterday. Now you ask your queries. Any queries you can ask. 8 minutes to take a break. You can ask any query, anything you are not able to connect. Let me just give you 1-2 things. In case you could not understand the story of that regression because time is so small. Regression requires complete 4 to 5 days hour, not days, 5 hours. One complete day regression required. There are so many things in the regression. So, okay, when I'm working on the YouTube trying to open, it's not opening here. So what I will do, let me share, stop share. And cross check, screen visible.
Yes, sir.
So I will ask you, please watch these couple of videos. Elementary, just watch it without understanding something, just watch. First 2 videos you can leave. These are the different family members of R. Lastly, you will come. Usually when we take a complete workshop of 5 day of EFA, CFA, 5 day or 6 day, by the end of the 6th day, we call 30 types of R, at least 25 types of R. ये वैसे ही है जैसा वो विष्णु सहस्त्र नाम है या दुर्गा सप्तशती है, बिल्कुल उसी तरह से एक ही चीज है. There is only one thing in the statistics which you should learn, that is R. The same R manifests itself in the different forms. Somewhere it will become R will become T, R will become F, ANOVA, chi-square test, serial, biserial, polychoric. So many versions are there of the R. And then there is a R square, EFA. In the morning when you have done EFA, exploratory factor analysis, you must have computed eigenvalue, communality, variance explained, so many things. These are those 25-30 members. Start from here. Anatomy of correlation coefficient, story of R, this I discussed with you now. Part and partial correlation, these 3 videos you should watch. you should get a basic idea about why we do those sort of meaningless computation and computation. What is the rationale behind it? What's the story behind it? Why we do it? How do it? What is R, small r, capital R, beta? What all these things are? Z value is extremely important. Okay, you can watch these things. Anatomy of regression is also talks about the regression. Second thing, if you miss out something, then I made a playlist on SmartPLS. I must tell you, these are all, I have not incentivized this one. So you can't say is a marketing channel. Whether you watch or not, doesn't matter. This is the SAM versus regression. I tried to explain yesterday. What is SAM, what is regression? When we have a variable, we are not concerned about reliability, validity. We directly apply regression. When we have an opinion, first we should check its reliability and the validity. Only then we go for regression. That becomes SAM. I discussed a brief 30 minutes introduction to the various approaches. Even higher version of that I shared with you in the morning, the word of SAM, word of SmartPLS or word of PLS-SAM. Reasons for using PLS-SAM instead of CB-SAM, I compared the both. Basically, non-linearity is there, reflective model, single item is there. All these we use this. How to download, install, import, rules of PLS-SAM, reflective formative, this I discussed with you. CTA we don't go. Reporting PLS-SAM, the paper I shared with you, when to use, how to report the results of PLS-SAM. The same is discussed here. And then one by one, all others are discussed. And then the version 4, when version 4 came, I just discussed those videos which are somewhat different in the version 4. Moderation approaches, necessary condition analysis, handling the higher order construct, endogeneity by Gaussian Coppola approach. And somebody asked about the CIPMA. So this is CIPMA and reporting CIPMA. The only limitation is all the videos are only in the Hindi language, because in English language there are thousands of videos. So I opted for Hindi language. If you miss out something, you can watch this. Equally good, Professor Dhaval's Mehta channel is there. He speaks in English, so that is also available with you. So now, going back, what we'll discuss now, we understand a couple of things other than the word of SAM, structure equation modeling. We have discussed there is a reflective and the formative where the arrow directions will go. The arrow direction in case of reflective will go from construct to items. Construct exists first. If I ask your happiness level, stress level, or even don't ask, the circle exists. If I ask, the same will be reflected into the box, into the answers. But in case of formative, first you will experience something, and then they will cumulative, they will add up to become as the, using multiple regression, it will become as the formative. In the formative, the direction of the arrow goes from box to circle, from item to construct. In case of reflective, it goes from circle to the box. Technically, formative is a case of multiple regression, whereas reflective is a case of many cases of simple regression. Many cases of simple regression. Now, the only point left out is, one point is, you know why we require the SAM software? Can't I do it in Excel? I can do every single thing in the Excel, and actually I have explained all the things in the Excel. Only one thing I require, getting the construct score. How to get that construct score? Now, before that, let me tell you something. When you start working on the PLS-SAM, SmartPLS software, Dr. Atul Shiva will discuss that with you tomorrow. The first thing, without asking you, it converts your data into the Z-score. It converts your data into the Z-score. Soul of the variable is taken out. So it means there will not be any intercept term. There will not be any intercept term because it's the Z-scores and they pass through the origin. There will not be any intercept term, first thing. Second thing is, there is no unstandardized value. Please be very careful. What Atul Shiva will talk about will be all standardized value. What Professor Dhaval will speak, he will talk 2 times. This is standardized, this is unstandardized. AMOS gives you both standardized and unstandardized. If you are not clear about the difference between the two, unstandardized regression coefficient are used for writing the regression equation. Standardized are always between -1 to 1. They cannot be more than 1. They cannot be less than -1. They are always between -1 to 1. Also called as beta. They are called as the beta. Now the million-dollar question is how to get the construct score. 3-4 approaches are there. And this is one of the very dubious people write objective to identify the factors influencing dash dash dash. This is one of the most liberal, flexible sort of objective in the entire research to identify the factors influencing, and it can be done in a number of ways. Number of ways it can be done. You are aware of EFA, CFA, but there are more than that. Let me just share with that. Oh, it's already 15:15. We can take a break here.